Welcome back to day 3 of the European Masters. I'm Chronicler, this is Orcs, and we are about to get into the second game of the day. It's going to be GamersOrigin taking on mousesports.
Yeah, and I think these two are very strong teams. I think it goes without saying. I'm definitely favouring MOUZ here, by all means. They're the #1 seed of the Prime League. They have looked dominant. But I think GamersOrigin have a very real shot to beat them. And I think when I'm looking at anyone, I'm looking at jungle. I'm looking at bluezor.
Now, GamersOrigin currently 1-1. Fnatic, of course, has just won their game, meaning that GamersOrigin, they're trailing. It's not the end of the world if they drop a game here, but they would much prefer to stay in the running, in contention with Fnatic Rising, whereas MOUZ Esports, as you're saying, they've been looking unstoppable thus far.
Yeah, if GamersOrigin loses, it puts a lot of pressure on their week 2 to perform, and in particular, beat out Fnatic Rising in the next matchup. If they win this, it's a lot more comfortable. It doesn't make the group messy, but it gives them a better shot. So obviously looking towards this one to see what they can do. And I think a big pick for me in this matchup is the Kalista. I think both teams have shown a lot of priority for that. I could potentially see GamersOrigin first picking it. My question is going to be, are MOUZ going to ban it, or are they going to have an answer for the champion?
Yeah, because as you said, the Kalista first pick, followed up by a first rotation. Urgot as well is something that they've really been favouring and that they've been having a lot of success with. What else do you expect to be high priority here within this draft between the GamersOrigin and MOUZ?
I think just a lot of aggression in the bot lane, a lot of tools for the support. We've seen like the Nautilus come out as a big pick for both of these supports. So it really depends how things flow, but I think the Kalista could potentially be something that comes out early here from GamersOrigin, although it depends what their game plan is, ultimately. But I want to see these bot lanes look to be aggressive when facing off against each other.
And it is, look, right call. It is going to be that first pick, Kalista. Incredibly powerful pick. And MOUZ Esports, they saw this one coming.
Yeah, I mean, you don't leave that open and expect, oh, they picked it? What a surprise. You knew that was coming. So this is the response, this is their plan. We have the Aphelios, obviously scales extremely well. If you're trying to play aggressive into him, he has good tools to keep you at bay. And on top of that, if you land that root from the Gravitum, it can be really punishing. So now we're looking at GamersOrigin. How can they keep applying that pressure in the bot lane? And you could see the Nautilus come out from HustlinbeasT. They could save the support till later. For now, they're just going to go for this Orianna for toucouille. And big thing I wanted to hone in on is leader. The leader problem in the mid lane. And he has been like a gatekeeper for the LEC. It's like if you can avoid, you have to avoid getting stomped by leader to have any chances of making the LEC, because he is just murdering a lot of the mids at this level.
And it's just, it's not even, as we saw, like his team fighting is exceptional as well, but it's just in straight up 1v1 scenarios where he just sees an opening and he's not afraid to get it.
MagiFelix, Renekton into the Sylas, and leader comes out ahead in the matchup. He did get a little bit of help from Obsess, but even so, that shouldn't really be happening. And the answer here for toucouille is this Orianna, and the question is going to be, will leader be able to keep challenging him as he has done so far? Will toucouille be able to hold off? We do see just a Trundle coming in, likely going towards bluezor, so a lot of pressure in the early levels, and unsurprisingly, it is going to be that Urgot third pick, which has been kind of a mainstay for MOUZ, and obviously Tolkin in particular, where they just take it in the exact same spot every single time.
Yeah, and this is the scary thing to me about MOUZ. It feels like it's a team, you know what they're going to do, but it doesn't really change anything, and that's not a good thing, is you're a team facing them. Like, the fact that you're pretty much aware what they're going to do. They're not a team like Gamer Legion or like we saw Fnatic do yesterday, where they throw a curveball your way. I think the Aphelios is a little bit of a throwback because it has been as popular recently, but the Sett and specifically the Urgot, none of that is surprising. But you can't stop them.
Yeah, and the question is going to be, where will GamersOrigin will GamersOrigin be able to put the force down into that bot lane? And we've seen the bans come in from mousesports. They are targeting away at those supports. HustlinbeasT had a great Nautilus game yesterday where he was really a driving force for the team. That won't be enabled. We could potentially see the Leona taken away. Maybe even something more fringe like the LS, but actually going to go for the Malphite in this situation. So not wanting that tank in the top lane who can itemize heavily into armor against the Urgot and also be a threat to the Aphelios. And GamersOrigin, they're looking towards those blind mid laners. You could potentially take in the leader, but just take for leader. The Azir is something that he does go towards. Ryze is other maids that he leans on, but honestly, I'm not sure he's necessarily going to go in that direction. I definitely think there's things he can play which are a little less safe in scaling and more, I'm going to hurt you.
And that's what he's been doing so far. I mean, we saw the game yesterday, and the Nidalee is also a pick that I think has been more and more popular in the jungle. It started initially out as more of a counter pick, but it's become just an all-round really strong pressure jungler, and it works well with the amount of AD that's currently available for MOUZ Esports as well.
Yeah, but I feel like they're probably, I don't know, they're still up in the air. I'd want to keep the Sett potentially as a jungler. I feel like that's the best role for him.
Okay.
Sylas makes complete sense. I mean, Leader's been a monster on this champion. His skirmishing has been huge. In terms of ult selection, it's okay. It's not amazing. The shockwave isn't that good when you can't actually move the ball around for it. And obviously, the Kalista ultimate is a powerful one, but if you're paired up with the Sett especially, but it is something Leader has a lot of prowess on. I think more than anything, Leader is someone who has his champs he picks and he is successful on. So now GamersOrigin, I want to see an aggressive support to answer out here. I do like the Wukong actually. Shemek's been picking this a lot, and it allows that ball delivery combo. And now ideally for hustling, I'm thinking you go for something like the Leona, you go for something that can really tie up with the Kalista aggression. I'm not too surprised here.
Now, what is going to be the final, as you said, probably support counter pick that's going to come through here for MOUZ Esports, unless they want to go crazy and throw that Sett towards the bot lane. But it will be a little bit of a difference what we've seen them do so far. And as you say, GamersOrigin, very straightforward composition, and MOUZ Esports go with a great matchup, the counter matchup that we kind of been seeing. We've seen Braum maps before, and it will get locked in here.
I actually love the Braum in this situation. Originally, it was one of the big picks you took with the Aphelios in tandem with him, back when he was a lot stronger and didn't really need a Lulu to ramp him up. But it works well here, because it's great into Kalista, you stop the spear stacking. It's great into Leona, because she struggles when she gets in melee range and the passive starts stacking. And ultimately, when you look across MOUZ, everyone on that team is going to be helping you stack those passives. So a ton of skirmishing power for a team that loves skirmishes. I think MOUZ came away with what they wanted, and ultimately GamersOrigin, as much as the draft looks successful for them as well, I'm looking at that bot lane and I'm like, SMILEY and HustlinbeasT, they need to come out swinging.
Now, a big difference with what we've seen thus far from MOUZ is that the Aphelios, as you said before, it's been repeatedly nerfed. It isn't as strong as it used to be. It needs a little bit of time, and it feels more like a neutralizing lane, which is a little bit of a move away from what Jeskla and promisq have been doing thus far.
Yeah, I mean, it'll still scale. It'll still be pretty relevant later on. It's not like it's going to be... it's got thrown off by the blade graphic. It's still going to be pretty relevant and strong. In the later stages, obviously Aphelios still has a lot of kick there, not quite as much, but I think the main thing is that they just really toned down his power in a lot of areas compared to release Aphelios, compared to even the Lulu Aphelios meta where he was propped up. It's a long way away, but you got to think about what he offers here, and it's the fact that it's a short-range composition from Go. It's the fact that he has the Braum to protect him and a lot of disruption, so I think he has an opportunity to be successful if he gets out of lane.
And that's going to be the goal here for MOUZ, and they say, well, if we want to get out of lane, then we're going to go for yet another level 1 invade. It's been a really, really explosive start here today at the European Masters. SMILEY is on his own there, walking back into the brush, and needs to be very, very, very careful. Will get exhausted. Does use the flash there. Leader flashes after him, and that's going to be the first blood picked up for Obsess.
That's exactly the start you want. You punish SMILEY instantly, flash down, limits the aggression there, and it means essentially you just put a bit of tapering on that bot lane already. You've gotten a kill for Obsess as well to give him some strength in here. SMILEY actually starts to walk away and then walks back, and it's as soon as the Winter's Bite hits, I actually think you should have flashed before it connected. You've got to expect it. At this point with the exhaust and the concussive blows on you, it's too late and the follow-up comes in. Obviously, a Sett and a Sylas, very strong level 1. So personally, I think whenever you have a Braum, you should always invade, and they did so, and they get rewarded.
Get rewarded handsomely, and it's not even like Obsess is really going to miss the flash, because he attacks flash, which is amazing synergy, and Leader does what Leader does, which is dive in aggressively, go for those early trades. And MOUZ as a team is so incredibly aggressive, and we keep going over this because you see it even here. They look for the trades, they look for the outplays, they look for the opportunities given to them by the second time Leader goes in this aggressively, and it just is something that GamersOrigin also has had a rough time dealing with.
Yeah, I mean, aggression, when they have members caught out, particularly we saw that yesterday, we saw even in a convincing win, there was moments where SMILEY actually got caught out and punished. And I think that is the thing, is that MOUZ have no chill. They have no moment where they're going to give you space. If they can start a fight, they will take it. And you can see that already in the laning phase now. Jeskla and promisq, even with the flash being down, they have to pay respect to this lane. Going to be a little bit more defensive, at least until that level 2 point. That is where they have a bit more strength available to their bot lane, but it's still very much this Kalista Leona being threatening, and they will just be trying to play the defensive role.
And what do we expect to see out of here? Where is the focus going to lay? Because thus far, it's been the invade and a lot of focus towards this bot side where Kalista, Leona, you need to get a lead against this lane or you're going to be in for a really rough mid to late game as the hack flash gets used. Obsess coming over the wall here, immediately in position, but I don't know if promisq and Jeskla can really follow. They will choose to do so. Obsess is looking for the face breaker, has his grip bar full, and is going to wait a little bit with, doesn't even have to use it, just walks off.
Just walks away, and it was the ward in that tri-rush is a critical thing that allowed safety for the side of Go, and I like the decision to instantly put pressure on Obsess. They do win the Ignite, which is a bit unfortunate because now they have a little bit less lane pressure, but in return they force Obsess away. bluezor is going to come down, and essentially Go have free reign to do what they want on this bot side of the map, and it's going to result in a scuttle take. So, bit of an overzealous play from Obsess, getting spotted out, obviously meaning that Go are able to mitigate that pressure.
Now we see Tolkin already getting his first back in. Picked up a coal and is going to be stacking that leisurely as the game progresses. And outside of that invade, it looks like, just like last time, the teams are giving a little bit more breathing room with the HustlinbeasT is sitting in the brush and maybe waiting for Jeskla and promisq to move forward just a little bit too much. promisq, waddling back and forth, is going to check the brush eventually, but not really a great opportunity, although bluezor is coming over.
There is that ward available for MOUZ though, so they'll spot him out, and realistically, there's not too much that Go can do in this situation. It's like they're still potentially hunting it for it though, but it's a little bit risky. You don't have complete information in this scenario. I think you can see MOUZ trying to push this one in, but they're tentative to go for a play here because they engage badly, but they are looking.
There goes the Xenoblade on top of Jeskla. He needs to get out, tries to kite for as long as he can. There goes the exhaust on SMILEY, but they will pile on top of Jeskla and he will go down. It's a 1-for-1 trade thus far. Tolkin also came in with the teleport. Is forced to flash, and in the end, it is a 1-for-1 trade with a couple of summoners forced on both sides.
I mean, it's the power of the Braum and the Aphelios to buy so much time, to get the stun passives down. Tolkin teams TPs in so he can clean up one kill. And you could kind of feel the tentativeness from Go. They were looking for an opportunity. And MOUZ just, they knew that the Trundle was there and they just weren't too scared in this scenario.
And leader goes in very, very hard on toucouille. And we see promisq join the fray as well, goes for the Winter's Bite, but the Spider Concussive Blow is not choosing to go in deeper there. But you don't even need to, right? Just that is enough pressure that you get, and now they can pick up the first Drake of the game, which will be an Infernal going over to MOUZ. And with that composition, I reckon they take any amount of free offensive stats.
I mean, it's a nice early dragon to pick up in this scenario. You also burn double TP from the side of Go. Leader actually TP'd mid. He gets a CS lead. He's able to zone toucouille away for a while. It just all worked out well. And this is a replay. MOUZ have full information here that the jungler's there. They're still confident to step up because you look at the power here, the combination of the Braum shield and the concussive blows with the exhaust. In just an isolated 2v3, they've lost, but Tolkin comes in, they manage to trade 1-for-1, and then despite the double TP, really the Wukong and the Orianna aren't actually achieving much there, and it's a heavy investment from Go to still be a 1-for-1, and critically, it was SMILEY who died again in this situation.
And that's the pick you want to get ahead. The Kalista is not going to skill nearly as well as the Aphelios is. And there is a bit of a CS lead, but it's not really enough to say that it's a rough lane for Jeskla. As we see some movement coming through here.
I just feel that it was testament to MOUZ, the fact they knew the jungler was there and still stepped up. A lot of bot lanes that are backed away, and they are starting to back away here, sensing a bit of trouble, but actually, they're feeling confident. They're staying under the tower.
You see two-man also coming in here for mousesports. Are the reinforcements going to be on time? The pile on top of Jeskla, and he is going down, but promisq keeps him alive for so long as Obsess goes in with a big face breaker. Oh! Isn't able to use the haymaker, but here comes leader. He finds himself a solar flare, goes on top of SMILEY, doesn't hit the upstun, the duct.
He's down!
MOUZ goes down. They overinvest. They're too cocky, and they get appropriately punished as promisq runs for the hills.
I mean, he's just going to get cleaned up in the end of this situation. MOUZ overstepping there, not respecting their opponents, and they get punished massively, and they just chain it together. They lose Jeskla, they're like, okay, now it's Obsess's turn. He goes down. Now it's Leader's turn, and it just ends up being 4 kills chained together, some plates as well, and we'll get the replay. They could have backed away in this situation. They opted not to. They opted to use the tower. Jeskla is just instantly pressured and actually pulls away from the tower hits. And then Obsess, look at this face breaker. You're waiting for the haymaker, but he gets stunned, shockwaved, goes down before he can use it. And at this point, Leader, you've missed the fight. You're still going in, you get CC locked, you go down. It was just overconfidence, overzealousness, and MOUZ get punished.
The line between an amazing, mind-blowing play and what looks really bad is very thin. And we see it there. Because I think against a lot of other teams, he might have been able to get away with it, but
he could have, yeah, he saw the double kill. He saw the low HP of the bot lane, and he saw, I hit this Leona ult, I get the double kill, it's a worth trade. In the end, it's not a worth trade. No. And a bit more life in Go. We saw the bot lane struggling a little bit to get that pressure. But now toucouille is 3-0 in this situation with that roam down for the Orianna. And we were talking a little bit about how leader is that test for a lot of players. It's a struggle to necessarily match up to him. Can toucouille hold him off? And so far, he's done a decent job. And with those 3 kills from the roaming, he's in a really comfortable position on a very strong scaling champ.
See the entirety of both teams really move towards the top side. Put a little bit of pressure on Harold. But now the team really wanting to actually make a move on it due to the response coming through. Short dags flash, but Obsess not really wanting to actually go for anything, and maybe some visual control now being established in the respective rivers. This is not the first time we've seen toucouille pick up a lead like this. Yeah,
we actually saw a game like this against Fnatic Rising, where we saw the Cassiopeia pick up 6 kills, and was unfortunately unable to carry that one, but did do a decent job of providing that pressure. toucouille's very strong at picking up those kills. My question is going to be, can you translate it? Because right now they are in the lead, they are able to start making these plays, but I'm thinking back to that Cassiopeia game where toucouille got caught out, and there's potential to do this for MOUZ. So for now, go in a good spot though.
MOUZ, relentless aggression, a skill check team. But how are they going to do from behind? Because I feel like this is the first time where one of their plays blows up in their face like it did here. And it's not a position we're used to seeing them in, as Obsess and Tolkin will be stealing away the Rift Herald. bluezor not able to mitigate the pressure there. Will go put down a lot of damage on Obsess, so he's getting taken low. Grid rapidly declining, and there will be the flash right on top of him. Chomp comes through as well, and the shield is not going to be enough as the kill is found out. Tolkin now in his own, trying to do as much damage as he possibly can, but it will not be enough, and MOUZ is crumbling here.
I mean, it's just good play from Go. They just see the opportunity to punish. They know that Obsess stepping in for that Herald is ultimately a mistake. And it's just this mentality of MOUZ of, oh, you think we made a mistake? Well, we didn't. But then it ends up being an even bigger mistake. Obsess could have just said, okay, I'm dead here. I got the Herald, cool. But Tolkin opts to try and save him, stays with him over this time, tries to block for him, and the end result is instead of just 1 kill for a Herald, this is now 2 kills for a Herald for Go, and it means that they are actually feeling more comfortable about this trade. It's good play from Go, but it's MOUZ being greedy.
But I can understand MOUZ as well, because thus far no team has been able to like stop them from doing exactly this. And they keep trying, they keep going in, and now I'm wondering, can MOUZ swap it around? Because now they're behind them item spikes. Look at bluezor, who's currently 3-0-4, picked up his Sindel, picked up his Tabis, versus Obsess, who's still working on the first item completion. Look at toucouille, who just hit the Archangel Staff. The spikes are coming through from them, whereas from MOUZ, they're going to be fighting from a disadvantaged position. And thus far, to me, it doesn't look like they're properly respecting that.
Yeah, and I think at this point, you really have to slow it down and go, okay, we have an Aphelios who's going to come online later on. We have big pocket picks for Leader and Tolkin. We don't need to be forcing this in this situation. They've given up the Dragon, which I think is good, but it is now on Go. I think to keep applying that pressure, you have the 3-0 Orianna, bluezor, who I felt like he was going to be the big player for the team. He has been. 100% kill participation on this Trundle. The driving force in these plays. I want to see him continue making his mark on the map. You have the support of that Orianna, who's super strong. You can keep applying this pressure.
Now a sizable gold lead here for GamersOrigin. Drake score 1-1 as well, as the game comes down just a little bit. Probably going to be a big fight either towards that Herald that Obsess still has in his pockets, or a possible play surrounding any upcoming objective. But with the Drake just getting taken, with the Rift Herald still being a fair bit away, I was going to say, are they really going to try and force something? But it's MOUZ. Of course they are.
If they see a window,
they're going to
they'll go for it. If it's a tiny window, they'll just break through the wall and deal with the consequences. But for now, they are getting quite a bit of control on the bot side. You can see Jeskla in a position to push up here and threaten plates, but Go are not far behind. They are looking to react in this situation. My question is, will SMILEY overstep here?
Doesn't have any vision, and there is a lot of punish potential, but HustlinbeasT, he's not afraid at all. And that's the catch on top of Jeskla. The CC chain comes through here, but no actual damage landing on top of the Aphelios. Now bluezor coming in with the flank. Teleports being channeled by both teams. And the leader goes in way too deep, gets blown up, flashes off force, and MOUZ has to run away yet again.
And this is another scenario where a lot of teams would have gone, okay, plays failed, get out, but MOUZ are like, no, we're TPing in. And it ends up really costing them because they now lose leader, they've lost pressure on the map, and this means Go are just going to be able to deny waves away from the side of MOUZ and look to get some damage down onto this tower as well.
And you got to give credit to GamersOrigin because they're doing something that not in the Premier League playoffs and no other team thus far has been able to do, which is actually punish that aggression from MOUZ. MOUZ has gotten away with it time and time and time and time again. And now GamersOrigin are stepping up, they're saying, up till here, but no further.
Yep. Absolutely, and I mean, I just love the double TPs that come in frequently from Go. They know when a fight's going to kick off and they know how to respond to it. And MOUZ do make a nice play on the other side of the map, using the Rift Towel to secure that tower, but it's still a significant gold lead for GamersOrigin here. And I mean, as much as Tolkin gets some gold in his pocket is nice, it's not drastically going to change the state of this game. I'm really concerned about this Orianna. Obviously, Trundle is someone who will start to fall off later in the game, but the Orianna will remain ever relevant in this matchup.
And now we're going to be looking at the MOUZ that we saw against Fnatic Rising yesterday as well, because it's not just the 1v1s, the little skirmishes, it's also their teamfight execution. But if they can't fight that, GamersOrigin is looking incredibly strong here, and they have the type of composition where if you do find a solar flare, the amount of CC and damage you can pile on with a cyclone and a shockwave is not very fun or interactive to play against, especially considering they're currently already a solid 2k gold ahead, and they are hitting the spikes a lot earlier. We see SMILEY, he's building towards that Renans, already has his Zeal finished, whereas Jeskla still working towards the first item.
Yeah, and I think from this point, GamersOrigin just need to keep stacking up these objectives. The scaling feels fairly comfortable. Obviously the Kalista and Aphelios is a bit rough, but you have the Orianna. But MOUZ, they're not willing to concede. They're still contesting this vision control. They're still looking for windows. And this could be dangerous. Obsess might have found SMILEY here.
SMILEY not really trusting the current situation.
Obsess had flash there. Like, he could have gone for it, but I think they weren't quite so willing. They've learned something, but he will just dash away. Does get stunned though.
There is a solar flare. HustlinbeasT, he's not afraid. He goes in. Leader uses his stolen solar flare, and now the re-engage does come through. Maybe it's GamersOrigin who go a little bit over-aggressive as Obsess goes in very deep, but the Fate's Call keeps the Leona alive for a very long time, and HustlinbeasT aggression has been beautiful to watch, and it works out yet again, as it's going to be MOUZ who is on the back foot here, as GamersOrigin move towards the Herald.
Yeah, Leader managed to navigate that one, but Obsess, a little bit baited there, trying to go for the Leona. I mean, it is with the Kalista. I know sometimes you can sort of slip your mind, but just ends up being a lot invested from the side of MOUZ, and it's a free window for Go to go for this Rift Herald in this situation. No real contest here. Not really much MOUZ can do, but they're still trying. You can see it's still very evident they are looking for these plays.
But the fact that Obsess doesn't flash over the wall there and just pile on top of SMILEY, to me says that MOUZ is aware that, okay, we can't play like normally. We need to adjust it.
There's limits. There's limits. But as a result of them moving topside of the side of GamersOrigin, MOUZ will be able to take a dragon in this situation. And a solitary dragon, even having 2 dragons in the pocket, isn't drastically going to change this game. But it does mean that GamersOrigin's Soul and the Elder afterwards is going to be delayed. So still seeing a gold lead for GamersOrigin, but their control on these dragons hasn't been as sharp. Because if you compare this to Fnatic in Game 1, they were looking like a 21-22 minute Soul. This won't be a possibility for GamersOrigin, but they are starting to really cement that gold lead.
Leader making his way to the top lane. SMILEY and bluezor need to be a little bit careful. But they do have support from the rest of their team. Teleport's almost gonna come up, and Leader gets caught here. He's able to dodge away from the solar flare. There comes the damage, and it's more than enough, and he gets blown up in between turrets. And we talked about how amazing MOUZ is. We talked about how incredible Leader has been. It's currently 0-3-1. GamersOrigin is hitting MOUZ esports where it hurts, and it don't seem like they really have a response here.
I mean, I'm just loving the play from HustlinbeasT. I mean, we saw it yesterday, we're seeing it again today. He is so aggressive, going between the towers to find that kill, unrelenting, and it's working really well. It's being extremely effective because MOUZ aren't respecting the Leona. They are not sort of walking the safer path to avoid potential rushes being waited in. And HustlinbeasT has no chill.
No,
just look for the kills. Yeah, absolutely.
And we see he has the backup from his team as well. It's not an overextension if you have everyone ready to throw shockwaves, throw some spears into your opponent. And it's something that GamersOrigin has been doing throughout the entirety of this game. But we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves, because while the kill score might look rough, if we look at gold, it's still a surmountable advantage here for GamersOrigin.
Yeah, there's still a catch-up possibility. I think we can't really rule MOUZ out at this point, especially, it's not like it's just, because sometimes you have games where, okay, it's like a gold lead and a dragon lead and then an everything lead, but here it is
everything lead.
Yeah, it is mostly that gold. The dragons still kept at bay by MOUZ picking up those two, but there might be in a bit of trouble here. And again, HustlinbeasT is looking.
I feel like we've seen this over here. Beautiful Sentinel Blade from HustlinbeasT. Gets right on top of Leader, who is able to delay the inevitable with stealing his own, but then still goes down. Fourth time that has happened this game. And GamersOrigin, you said it, they have no chill. They keep putting on the pressure. Now shoving here. The wave clear from MOUZ is a little bit too much, but these repeated kills after kills after kills, just giving over to GamersOrigin, is going to become a problem for MOUZ. It already is.
I mean, it's giving more gold, but it's also meaning that anytime they want to try and get some control, some vision, they're stalled out by these picks. Now they have to back off due to leader being down. I'm saying that promisq, that's a little bit over-aggressive considering the state of the game, but GamersOrigin just showing what works for them. It is that aggression. It is HustlinbeasT on a strong, engaged champion, and bluezor has really dictated this early game as well. Still on that 100% kill participation on the Trundle.
Mind you, if GamersOrigin win this game, this entire group is all of a sudden in disarray, because MOUZ was looking, you said it before, like not just the favorite to top this group without too much of a problem.
What an idiot I am.
Yeah, well, you made a statement and it backfired. It happens to the best of us. But more importantly, that means that both Fnatic, GamersOrigin and MOUZ are all tied with a 2-1 score. We see the aggression coming through. Obsess goes over the wall, and that is going to be the end of toucouille. Very quick pick up there as the decisive play comes through, and this time it pays off.
It's just unfortunate that promisq got the kill. That's a 750 gold in the pocket for the support, but ultimately they do get a pick, so can't complain too much.
That's not it.
So he's just going to respectfully flash away. He knows he was getting corralled in. He doesn't want to risk it. It's a nice play. It's a good proactive one from MOUZ that we've been missing in this game, but unfortunately that 750 gold could really be utilized better by someone else. We'll now put some damage down on this mid lane tower, and I think Go might just give this one over.
Need to respect as well here as GamersOrigin. Don't want to make the mistake of having one play fail and then piling upon piling more gold, more people into MOUZ. I say as they channel the teleport, they are going to go in here. As toucouille is looking for a flank on top of promisq. He's going to flash over the wall and will get chased here, but I don't know how long it is going to take.
That's away from your base.
Tolkin just casually pushing on, and there goes promisq. He does get tagged. We see the blast going getting procs in promisq. He stays alive for a lot longer than I anticipated.
Yeah, buys a lot of time, but ultimately does go down, and the rest of the members of Go answer in turn. It's just a bit of an overreach going for that mid lane tower. promisq step too far. And again, these TPs utilized really effectively by Go in this situation. toucouille goes for another one, and Tolkin should be able to get out in this scenario, but Go are not slowing down. They are still looking to seek out as much as they can, denying this jungle, looking for that red buff, and also getting the vision control that can translate into that Baron later on. Now, Dragon is spawning in 20, and that is my one caveat here is that if Go had a higher priority on these dragons, this could be solved for them. But it's not going to be. It's going to be them equalizing those. So still means there's a fair bit of hope alive for MOUZ, but it is starting to really feel rough right now.
It's also in how clean GamersOrigin have been playing, because there's been a kill here or there. SMILEY, of course, being punished a little bit in the early game, but outside of that, it's just been so well played by GamersOrigin. And even when MOUZ do get a kill, like we saw in toucouille, as you say, the gold doesn't go to the right person. They have to invest a lot, and they don't actually gain anything out of it. So we see the Baron getting hovered here. MOUZ gonna take some control as Jeskla...
Go want to fight, though. They're collapsing here.
A bit of a collapse coming through here. They are standing in the brush, but Shemek not that easily fooled as HustlinbeasT does go in there. Solarfly is used, and it is an absolute pile-up there as the Facemaker comes through from Obsess. promisq doing his best, but can't tank enough damage. Jeskla has to flash defensively, and even though everyone from MOUZ is here, it's not looking good for them. The damage comes through, and that's a beautiful rend on top of Jeskla, who gets blown up. GamersOrigin barrel towards the Baron.
Looked a bit precarious there, honestly. Jeskla getting a lot of AoE damage in, but Go come through. SMILEY gets the execute onto the AD carry, and now looking towards the Baron. Obsess has barely any HP left. You can look for a steal potentially here, but one combo from the Orianna and he's down.
Leader and Tolkin don't want to give this up for free. It's an important Baron here for GamersOrigin. Might allow them to run away with the game. There is vision available. Obsess getting taken out there. And toucouille goes forward, goes for the flash, doesn't actually find anyone, but they do zone. And GamersOrigin pick up the Baron against MOUZ.
Yeah, super hard with Obsess and such low HP. No flash, only Hex Flash, and the Kalista rend as well. Ultimately, it was going to be a difficult task. This fight, I mean, at this point, it's a bit early for the engage from Obsess and promisq, but they have to try to counter-engage. And a big combo here, Obsess gets the massive Haymaker, and then the ult actually coming out from Jeskla and the follow-up. That's a lot of damage on the go. You can see the Aphelios doing some work, but it's here, the piercing rend and follow-up onto Aphelios just chunks him. This is how strong SMILEY is, and that, as soon as Jeskla went down, that was a fight over.
As we saw in the bottom left, MOUZ was able to pick up the Drake, putting them at sword point, but that
doesn't matter.
No, I don't think it does, as GamersOrigin now going to push here with the Baron buff, but it is a window for MOUZ. Though it is a Cloud Soul, which generally not the greatest, but if you look at the ultimates on the side of MOUZ, you're still going to be happy with that.
I think at this point, it's more so, well, at least Go doesn't have the soul, because realistically, yeah. I think the pivotal moment of the game is now. 5k gold down, enemy team has Baron, have to stall this out. You're not getting much help from a soul because it's not being picked up yet, but at least the enemy team doesn't have it. So we'll see MOUZ trying to defend that mid lane inhibitor tower, but Go are unrelenting and will take it down. Now looking for an engage.
There's a solar flower on top of Jeskla. HustlinbeasT has absolutely no chill, and Jeskla gets blown up in a matter of seconds. Nothing that MOUZ can really do. Fate's Call keeps the Leona alive, and it's going to be GamersOrigin who's going to throw this group into this raid. Tolkin tries to get it back, but it is not going to be enough. Not enough damage, not enough tankiness, not enough anything from MOUZ. And Dan, you called them the tournament favorites. They just got their loss handed to them by GamersOrigin in a deciding fashion.
Go looked good. They had a really convincing game. Gonna finish off the Nexus here, and I mean, it's just made it more interesting. I have no complaints here. They proved me wrong, whatever. It's made it more interesting, and I think the thing to highlight here is that Go punished them. Go really punished MOUZ, and in a way they haven't been for a long time, because, as I said, they've swept the later stage of their playoffs in the Prime League. They've not lost until this point in the tournament.
This is the first loss since Unicorns of Love.
Yeah.
That's a while ago.
That was a while ago. And I think ultimately it was GamersOrigin utilizing a lot of their tools, the aggression from HustlinbeasT. bluezor in that early game really making a name for himself as one of the strongest, if not the strongest jungle in the tournament. I think Tink still has some objections, but just some great early play from them. They had a game plan. They set up for it. Yes, there were some messy moments, but really delivered. And I think the team fighting was stellar as well. toucouille, I was concerned. I think you're always concerned facing leader, how he's going to handle, but not only did he manage it, he was there with those TPs. And I think that's the critical thing, is that we often see MOUZ as a team who play very split, very individualistic. GamersOrigin did not do that. They were grouped, they were rotating, they were using the teleports, and they just punished. And there wasn't really a window for MOUZ. And I think the big thing here is we now have the 3 teams of that group all at 2-1.
Incredible performance here from GamersOrigin to take down MOUZ Esports. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll be back with Movistar Riders taking on Gamer Legion. Welcome back to day 3 of the European Masters. I'm Chronicle, this is Orcs, and we just saw, I don't even want to call it an upset because GamerOrigin is an amazing team, but MOUZ looked so good up until this point, but they still, they got smacked.
Yeah, I don't think, it's not a massive surprise because GamersOrigin by all means are a team who can deliver this, but MOUZ were looking incredibly powerful before this and had a pretty big undefeated streak. But it's moments like this where they overstep, they don't disrespect, and go have no off button. They go very aggressive, and when these members of MOUZ keep chaining into them, they'll just keep picking up more kills. And really, they're skirmishing as well, which is excellent.
And it's the coordination from GamersOrigin that really gets to me. The way that you pointed out as well during the game, how well they execute the repeated double teleports, how they're always in a position to help one another. And you can see it here as well. They make such good use of MOUZ's almost forced need to look for skirmish upon skirmish of skirmish. And if you have the team with you, if you have the manpower available, you can just take them down.
Absolutely. And to me, this feels like MOUZ are a team who love to test their limits. GamersOrigin are a team who know their limits. And you can see even moments like this where they're getting chunked out heavily, they're still going forwards. This beautiful rend with the stacks built up by the Runans to just execute Jeskla. Because in a moment like those, you feel a bit nervous, but they find it. They manage to take out the Aphelios and deliver themselves into a position where they are now equal with Fnatic Rising and mousesports in the group. It's definitely shaking things up, them all being 2-1, makes it very spicy in a really competitive group.
And Group D, by all things considered, is an incredibly difficult group as is. And the fact that GamersOrigin take this win, as you say, it just throws everything into disarray, because what it was looking like was MOUZ Esports not really having any difficulty, just taking down team upon team upon team, and then it will be a fight for the second place. But GamersOrigin says, we're not taking any of that. We are going to go and knock you down. And now we're in first place too. Yeah,
and it makes it exciting, it makes it volatile, it makes that second week really exciting, which is, that's the sad thing, is you got to wait for that second week to see the rest of the games coming out from this group. But it's something to look forward to, because I think it's well interesting the fact that you have to ask yourself, has there been a shift in play style, which I think the aggression coming out from GamersOrigin has been a huge factor in them finding a powerful win there and against Intrepid Fox. But also, how is the Fnatic going to perform now? If they match up again against MOUZ, now that they're playing more how they did in the NLC, we could really see things shaken up. And what is going to happen with MOUZ? Will they adapt into their week 2? A lot of questions that will obviously be answered at a point, but it makes things really interesting.
Now, Group D, incredibly interesting. The next game that we're going to see is going to be GamerOrigin and Movistar Riders. Movistar Riders, of course, the Spanish saver. I think it's really the team that the SLO has their hopes on to get ready for this tournament versus GamerOrigin, which made it through play-ins. Not flawlessly, but they got through it, and is more of an old ball team with some draft variations here and there.
Yeah, a bit spicy, but I think I agree with your point. Spain wants a win. It's been a while since I've had a win at the EU Masters, and I think Movistar are their main hope.
I mean, I've never had a win at the EU Masters, so I know how it feels a little bit. We're going to go to a short break, and then we'll be back with Movistar Riders taking on GamerOrigin.